So I want to talk to you about Remflex gaskets. Um, I I'm not sponsored by them. They don't know me. But with the issues that I have had on my car, which isn't super earth-shattering, oh my gosh, end of the world, whatever, but the downpipes that are on my car were put on 25 years ago. The flanges that were used at the time were not the right size gaskets. They were flanges. They were a little big, so and universal. So trying to get a gasket that would fit and seal, and the flanges were thin. So the flanges have warped over time. They're the wrong size, and regular old off-the-shelf gaskets have never lasted long. Even doubling up because of the thickness where the bolts go through, you can't get enough compression where the bolts are. With the double thick gasket, then the gasket, it even makes the warp worse. So when I was trying to, if you watched the FiTech video, the 20-minute video where I drove the car, cold start up and drove it for a bit, you could, and when I stopped and walked around the car, you could hear the pop and the exhaust leaks. Twofold: one from the collector flange and the actual manifold, the head itself. The 440s from the factory, everybody's like, they never ran gaskets. Fine, cool beans. That was the gaskets that I had put in 25 years ago, had finally burnt out. I think maybe I'd replaced one at some point. But especially after that video, I was like, I want to do something. Plus, I was getting tired of, how crappy the manifolds were looking. So I decided, hey, I'm going to fix the exhaust leaks. Since I put the FiTech on, the car's been running better. It didn't stink up, the house every time I got it out. I wanted to do some nice stuff for the car. Fix some stuff up, and getting the exhaust leak was on the list. So pulled the manifolds off, and I had one of a big block Dodge has those long barrel bolts that go through the manifold, and it snapped one of the studs off that were in these heads when I bought them, and it almost ruined the head trying to get that fixed. But at any rate, it is fixed. And I had, for a short time, I had put, I think, new gaskets on because I had some gaskets hanging up. So, like, some better gaskets, like the black Mr. gasket than your cheap white header gaskets. And they too blew out in short order. So I pulled them off again, and I sandblasted the manifolds. I used some high heat paint. I had used Eastwood's paint way back when, 25 years ago. Didn't have very much good luck with it. And I searched around, and I found another paint, and I don't even know if I've got the can anymore. I don't remember I'd have to look. And at first I thought I was having more problem than I did with the Eastwood, because as soon as I fired it up, it wrinkled the paint off the top. And I was really disappointed. Even sent an email to the company and said, hey, have you guys run into any? And they were like, no, we can send you another can. And I was like, nah, it's all right. It's not, sometimes the product just doesn't work, to the way you want it. And fine, no big deal. But it turned out that it must have been just the top layer of paint or whatever. The coating underneath has, after the dust flaked off and made a mess over everything, it they look wonderful. So anyway, so when I put them on the last time, I had run across Remflex and bought some of the header gaskets and bought some of the collector gaskets, and that was 4 years ago, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, give or take, when I put them on, and this car's quiet, no exhaust leaks. They're made out of a graphite, solid graphite gasket, which is good up to 3,000 degrees, so they won't burn out. They are super thick. They are a little bit fragile, so you just can't go throwing them around. But you see how thick they are. And in putting this 5-speed, I had to drop the exhaust in order to get some stuff out, and anyway. So I was like, well, I'm going back with the same gasket, but I wanted to show you the gaskets that I pulled off, so you can see the compressibility of those Remflex gaskets. So in my case, where the bolts are, it can go super thin, and then out in this area where the flange, for the pipe, for the down pipes is warped, it will still compress, but because it's warped, it won't compress as far, but it still seals and it's not going to burn out. So hey, shout out to Remflex, because I love these gaskets. They're amazing. So until I spend some money and get my headers put on, which means new heads, which means new cam, which means the snowball effect, these are what is working for me on my stock manifold. So anyway, appreciate it.